everyone. Hello. Oh, Christoph. Hello. Christoph and I went to Jackie Goddard's speaking workshop the other day, learning how to speak. So we're, hopefully that'll all come through in here. Although, don't tell Jackie that I didn't do my breathing exercises before I came on. So, shh. Yes, Christoph, it's disgraceful, isn't it? So I will get started. 'Cause I think to stop coming in now. So, hello, I'm Anna Bravington, co-founder and strategist at Those That Dare. We're a strategy agency. One of my favourite type strategies, content strategy, hence why I do a lot of talks on content. I'm an ex-PR and writer as well, so it's a really passionate subject of mine, going through content. And yeah, you're probably wondering about the title of um, this talk. So, go home, content, you're drunk. So, for me, content is a lot of sites. It's really you can't understand it very well, and it feels a bit like you're trying to sort of wade through a drunk text at some point. That someone's 2 a.m. drunk texting you, and you're like, "What's this text speak? I don't know what it is." And the worst sites are the tech sites. So I've got some examples to show you. But for me, it's just about making it more understandable to everyone. So I've got a little presentation to share. So I'm hoping I've done this the way that Alan has taught me. Oh, here we go. This looks promising. So you'll find there's a lot of rainbows and a lot of colour around, and a lot of emojis, which I feel reflects me quite well. Um, so go home, content, you're drunk. So this is me, very serious person, as you can see. So yeah, how to write content that's more understandable than a 2 a.m. drunk text from your ex. So it just frustration of mine that as a content writer, I see a lot of sites. I went on one the other day and I had to get through about 5 pages before I actually knew what the business did. And so that was really hard. That was a lot of time that I'd spent trying to understand if this business was for me, what offering they had. So I'm just sort of this is bit help people make it just a bit easier and a bit simpler for you to be able to get people to understand what you're doing. So I've got to give a caution here, because if there's any copywriters in the room, then you're going to be very, very upset by these. So I'm going to give you some examples. I have gone to tech because they're my favorite in terms of unreadable content. So Avengers custom software development, craftsmanship, and business prowess define our approach to devising customer software applications. Abundant expertise married with exquisite development processes helps the software projects we deliver infuse our clients' business with commercial value and long-lasting market content. I mean, my goodness, that's a mouthful, isn't it? It really is. Another lovely example, for businesses to thrive in the digital era, it takes a formula that puts organizational evolution at the forefront. We'll work on with you on your pragmatic strategies for organizational change that increase your agility, resilience, and ability to compete. And this one, this has got a lot in it. Technology, it's the not so secret ingredient behind the many of the world's leading organizations. And it could be your greatest asset too. The rocket fuel for your growth, the treasure of your newfound efficiencies, the launch pad for your strategic success. That's where we can help. So when you're ready to imagine your business, we're here with you. There are a lot of words, aren't there, in all of those? And I don't feel that they're actually saying much or really telling me. And these were paragraphs on the homepage where they're introducing themselves and telling us who they are. So they're really, really key to us going, oh, I know what this business does, and I understand that they're for me. So that's what you shouldn't do. So I'm going to go through what you should do. So content should target your audience and make it about them. So you'll notice on those previous ones, it was we, Avengers this, we that, this is what we do. It's actually more about your audience than it is you, because they want to buy your services or your product for themselves. So it's really important that you that they understand how it's going to help them. Have a single clear message. So your business may have lots of different products and services, but you need to make it a sort of single clear message. So what defines all of them? Is it that they save time and help people? Is it that they reduce stress? Be human, including emotion and pain points. So a lot of those ones I read just didn't feel very human. Like it was a bit like AI had written them. There was a lot of words and a lot of stuff, but actually it didn't feel like a person had written it. Provide value, which is really important. So what are they going to get out of this? What value are they actually going to get from reading that piece? And have a clear call to action. So once they've read something, what do you need them to do afterwards? So there's some simple sort of do's and don'ts. So you write clearly and simply. Use acronyms sparingly and define the ones that you do use. Make text easy to scan. Break up text with headings. Write like you speak and use contractions. Just to say, if you want a copy of these slides afterwards, just email me or grab me on LinkedIn. You don't have to write them all down. And then I can send you a PDF of them. Don't use jargon or undefined acronyms. Write long or complicated sentences. Don't use idioms or figures of speech. So I once worked with a client who in a blog wanted to reference some I'd never even heard of it. It was some American literature, and there was a quote in it, and he was like, "Everybody will know this. It's really famous." And I was, "No, I mean, I did English literature at school, and I did not, and at A level, and I did not read this text." So trying to use references and figures of speech. In fact, actually, I've got a lot of American clients, and we just had one where they used the term Sunday scaries, which is it's a fairly new term, and it's that feeling of dread that you get before Monday starts, so you don't want to go to work. And although it's been in popular like the Telegraph and everything, it's only about I think it's only about 10 years old, the term. Now, generally, in terms of terms, if you're going to use a popular term, use something that's been going a fair while, so at least sort of 30 or 40 years. But it does depend on your audience. If you've got an audience that are maybe teens or 20s, you can use something that maybe they'll relate to. It does mean, though, as times change, you do have to change. If you're going to use these references, these sort of culture references or popular modern references, does mean you have to keep your text up to date. If you don't want to keep doing that, use something that's a bit more, run of the mill. If you look at, books like Harry Potter, a lot of the content in that doesn't actually date it particularly well, doesn't date it at all, because it was sort of set in the 80s and the 90s, but actually when it came out, people from the noughties and that could still relate, because actually there wasn't a massive amount in there of popular culture. So it makes it a bit more timeless. And actually with your content, if you keep sort of sayings and figures of speech out of them that are in sort of popular culture, it can actually make it a bit more timeless and a bit easier to keep up to date. And also you're going to make sure that you're going to hit all your audiences. And also, don't use huge blocks of text. Break everything down to make it really easy and scannable. So, oh, it's not going forward. The reason we do this, I love this series, it's called Cognitive Ease, and it's about taking the mental load off the audience. So people who read something and it's easy to read and easy to understand, they actually feel more favorable about it, because you're just making their day easier. I can scan read something and go, this is for me, this is easy, I understand it. If you're making someone make an effort to read your content, whether it's a blog, whether it's your website, then they're not gonna they probably won't finish it. And also they're just gonna say, oh, this company feels a bit of an effort. That feeling that you give them sticks with them. So everyone's really busy. Take the load off them. You do the work. You explain things really easily so that actually they don't have to do any work at all. They just know what to do. They know what you offer. They know what the blog's about, and it's really simple. So me versus you. So this is one of my must have important bits. So I mentioned it briefly earlier that it's really important to put your content and your business in the eyes of the audience, because this isn't about your business, it's about how you're solving the issues or how you're helping the person that is reading it. So it's people are generally very self-centered, and the person reading your vlog is not gonna be concerned about you. They're gonna be, "What about me? Me, me, me." You know, that generally is how people work, because they want to know, you know, if you've got Brian from accounts that wants some new payroll software, he doesn't want to know that, you know, the 200 um things that you've features that you've got that in a giant booklet. What he wants to do is know that at the end of the day, he can leave on time and go and watch Pointless on, you know, on his settee and his pants. That's what he wants to do. You know, he wants to know how you're going to make his life better. You know, his current software is really hard work, and he has to work, you know, work till 8 o'clock at night because it's so unintuitive and he has to do tasks 3 times. Whereas your software, my goodness, it just flies through the tasks, and he can get home and get home, you know, and get to his couch and have a lovely restful evening. So you've got to think about how it's going to impact the clients, and it can be a little bit hard with the me versus you, because as you're not always your client, you need to be able to understand, you know, who they are, you know, and you need to start considering, you know, why does your audience care about your product, your service, the content that you're writing for them? You know, you've got to get to this quite early. Um, Normally in the first headline, preferably, or at least the first paragraph, you know, what is the most important, exciting point? You know, what is the benefit to the reader? Do they have a problem that needs solving? You know, do you want to make their life easier? Do they want enjoyment? You know, this, you know, people buy things because they're beautiful, and they just really want them in their lives. You know, they buy Nike Air Force Ones. Oh God, I'm so not down with the kids. The Air Force Ones, the popular ones, but they buy them because they're a social status symbol, and everyone else has them. You know, depending on their whys, you know, your text is going to be different. If it's a problem, you need to say, how am I solving this? How, you know, how am I making people's lives easier? And if they desire it, you need to sort of show why other people have it, and why it's really exciting. So it does vary. I had to keep this quite broad because everyone's got really different businesses. So the thing is, you can guess, you know, if you've been in your business a long time and you've had lots of customer feedback, you can guess what they want from you. But actually, there's a lot of things you can do which are research tools. And this is not, I think sometimes people think that research is for big businesses, but it's not. We work with actually a lot of small businesses, phoning their customers and asking how they felt about the company when they first met them, how they felt about the service, and getting lots of really juicy pain points and interesting tidbits from that. And you can just do it as simple as feedback forms and polls. You know, you can just, you doesn't have to be out to the population. It can just be to your previous customer base. um, I love places like Reddit, because in Reddit they have lots of forums for different types of businesses, and you can go and have a look about the questions people are asking, the difficulties having. So there was one the other day I was reading on personal finance and an accountancy one, and people were just asking questions. Oh, how do I do this? What do I do that? Great place to actually find out what people's pain points are. I think Reddit's actually got sort of over 2 million different subreddits, which are categories. And to be honest with you, you can find most professions in there, or most subjects. So you can go and have a little delve and know that what questions people are asking. Quora is also another good one. So Quora, people ask, it's if you've not heard of it, it's Quora with a Quora, I think it is. So that's where people ask questions about a subject. So you can have a delve in there and say, oh, what questions are people asking? Um, from there. So there's a couple of good online forums. One-to-one and group customer interviews. I mean, most popular is one-to-one interviews, and we just have Zoom chats with clients, customers, and just ask a load of questions that drag those details out of people. What was your experience like with them? When it led up to them, what made you choose them or the other? Why did you need them? What were the pain points? So we ask those sort of questions. And they're normally about half an hour calls at the most. And customers are generally very happy to have them. If you do interviews and one-to-one interviews, make sure you do a minimum of five. Five tends to be the number where you can make sure that you get a good spread. So, like I said, they don't have to be. You don't have to have hundreds of customers. You can just do a few. But five tends to mean that you get a good spread of opinions and thoughts, so that you can wheedle out any that might be one way or the other. If you can do more than five, obviously that's fabulous. Customer panels. If you have got a lot of customers, then getting a panel together to regularly ask them questions is really good. And just giving them a little reward for that. Market research. So it kind of goes hand along with online forums, seeing what people are asking. There's another site called Answer the Public, which is if you go on there, you get a few free searches a day, and you can put your topic in and ask what people are asking about on search engines about that topic. Really good for finding out what questions people are asking. And surveys, slightly more expensive option. YouGov, really expensive. Find Out Now, little bit cheaper, but Find Out Now is very good for getting immediate results, but it's a bit more consumer focused. But if you do have a bit of cash and you want to spend, they can be really useful. They're really good for finding out where your business should go as well. So I've sort of talked about what you should do. So I wanted to put it in practice. So we go back to our nonsense. So Avenger, bless them, they're very, very complex text that I mentioned earlier. Avenger's custom software development, craftsmanship. I can't even speak, can't say it. And business prowess. So what would that look like if we put some of the things into action? So it could be, now a caveat, I don't know these businesses well. So these are very surface level changes. If I knew them better, I'd probably be able to do something a little bit better. But don't let software development hold you back from success. With our painless approach, we'll help create a custom application that not only meets your needs, but also brings commercial value and a great return on investment. So, we're putting it in the eyes of clients. Software development can be a bit of a money hole and often doesn't work, and it can be really difficult. So, people often don't undertake it, or it's really frustrating. So we're looking at some of those pain points. You say we're making it painless and it's going to bring a good return on investment. Um, and then the next one, for businesses to thrive in a digital era, it takes formula that puts organizational evolution at the forefront, etc., etc. So, potentially to succeed in the digital era, business must focus on evolving their organization. We can help you by creating practical plans to improve your ability to adapt, bounce back, and compete with others. So it's just showing them that they can have a bit of resilience in the marketplace. And it's the same thing. It's just a bit simpler. Um, this one, technology is the not so secret ingredient behind many of the others world leading organizations. Do you know what? I didn't actually bother doing this because it doesn't really say anything. Sorry, I meant to go back. Doesn't really say anything. This is a lot of words, and it basically says technology is good. That's pretty much what it says. Um, that's not really a paragraph. That's not really selling something. Everyone knows that technology is, is can be good for business. It just doesn't feel like it says anything at all. So this is the thing, when you're writing, make sure it has a point in and what it's saying, because this yeah, I mean, I could have just replaced it with technology is good. It doesn't really say anything, and that you'll find that if you look through a lot of sites with a critical eye, you'll find that some of the content just doesn't say anything at all. So I'm just going to show you what it looks like in action. So we're going poor old veg. I'm really picking on them today. So this was their website, and it starts custom software development. And this giant paragraph that I quoted before. Now, it just looks, this giant paragraph here and custom software development doesn't really delve into those pain points, as we know. So I looked at, there's I'll give you an example of another site that I really like this one. So this is visualize and optimize every step of the customer journey. So this is for someone that really wants to get their customer journey honed. Now I don't really like the word holistically there. Holistically, understand how every single touch point affects the customer experience to drive growth, retention, and customer service. So it's a little bit more explaining why it's going to be really beneficial to them, and it's short and simple. And then if you go back to that, you can see the difference. It just feels like it doesn't say anything. So if we took our text that I wrote very quickly, this big bold line: don't let software development hold you back from success. With our painless approach, we'll help you create custom applications that not only meet your needs but also brings commercial value and return investment. Now, the thing that about this sort of text is it's sort of saying that you do it. So, but I like to show that you've done it. So if you're going to talk about something, that you're bringing commercial value and a return on investment, use something to back that up nearby the text. So I've made up this lovely quote by Bernard. Our project has already made us double what we paid for it, and we've had over 500 five-star reviews. So it's saying, you're saying that it brings investment. And commercial value, and then you're showing that it does. It could be a testimonial, it could be a stat or a case study from a client. It's really good to show what you're saying with actual how you actually did it. That way it's not just people going, oh, they've just said it, but is it true? So just a couple of practical tips to make that text a bit more readable. So use personal pronouns. They make it a lot more human and a lot more friendly. So say you instead of partners or customers, we and us instead of your business name. Try and say you and yours. So this is where we're coming in. It's about the customer more than we say we and ours. Aim for a ratio of 2 to 1. So more about the customer, more about you and yours, than we and ours. And so, and then swap nouns for verbs. So this helps shorten your writing and make it a bit more readable and straightforward. I'm going to show you examples. So the utilization of technology is widespread. So that's the noun version, and change it to the verb. We use a lot of technology. It's so much more human and friendlier. And the management of people is important. How do you manage your people is important. You can see that they're much more how you speak, chatty, friendly, and they say the same thing. So it makes it nice and easy. It's much easier to read both of those bottom sentences. And this is quite a good thing to do. So in your business, try and think of long words and words that you might use unnecessarily. And you can do a bad and good words. So try not to use words, instead of discussion, say chat, instead of additional, say extra, approximately, say around or about. Think about the words that maybe you use. Look through your text and see, are there any buzzwords you use? Are there any jargon you use? And what could you say instead to say that? The thing is to make sure that you're not um, thinking about the audience in and giving them it, hold them to high esteem. I heard someone once say about sort of CEOs, oh, they've worked their way up through the business, they know their stuff, they know this industry. They don't. Some people are fast tracked. Some cousin's uncle has been promoted CEO because he knows someone in the family. That people don't always know, and they will appreciate you helping them out. I've been in marketing 25 years. I still come over marketing terms that I've never heard in my entire life. So it's really important to make, this is why the government uses simple language on their websites. They use, up to 10, yeah, sort of up to average reading age of about 10, I think it is on the government site when they're dealing with the public. So, make sure you're keeping it really simple. Um, and then just as the last one, because everyone asks about it at the moment. If all else fails, just ask ChatGPT. So I put this in as a bit of a jest, but actually, if you're really stuck and you've got a giant paragraph and you cannot work out how to break it down, the AI tools can actually be really useful. So I just put in a very simple prompt. Normally my prompts are a little bit more I use it when I brain block sometimes. It doesn't always produce a perfect result, but sometimes it will get me halfway there. So I just asked it to write the Poor Old Avenged one in a shorter one, and it came up with a headline: "Custom software for commercial success." So it kind of included a pain point, and it shortened it, and it shortened the words and the language, and it's given a few pain points. So yeah, it's some of the way there, and it's better. It's better than the original text, which is one step up there. I'm a big believer, Helen. Yeah, I agree. ChatGPT is a great starter for blogs. So Helen's mentioned in the comments, and it's sometimes if you're not a copywriter and you're really struggling, it's a good place to actually jump in and just get some ideas on how you could write it better, because it just makes it a bit easier. So don't be ashamed to use it. I use it. I copyright all the time, and I use it sometimes for idea generation, bouncing ideas off it, and sometimes it's great for a starter. Or if you've got some text from a client or yourself, and you're like, oh God, where do I start with this? Sometimes if you just ask it to simplify it, it can pick out the key points for you. So it's really good, and I won't knock it. So that's my session over. So if you want to connect with me, I'm on LinkedIn, Anna Bravington, only Anna Bravington on there. Twitter, go to our website. If you want copy of the slides, message me. Also have a special offer. So if anyone is really struggling with their strategy, you can I've got a discount for a power hour where we can really untangle and get rid of your issues. If there's something you're really stuck on, we can spend an hour and get rid of your issues. So I've done a little discount on that as well. So if you want that, give me a message as well. So that's that's me. How do I stop sharing? Oh, we've only got about a minute for questions. Is there any questions? I got oh goodness, there's a lot of talk. There's a lot of conversation here. Oh, James, yes. I bet Avengers spent 20K on that website, probably, yeah, and got an Office Junior to knock up some copy after development. Often happens, often happens. We have a lot of difficulty with that, where people just don't value the copy. So it's really important. If I'm going to be in my expo booth in a bit, so if you do have any questions, please pop over and ask them, and I can elaborate on any of the points that I've talked about. So I got a lot in half an hour there. Thank you, everyone. Thanks. I've forgotten who's next. Oh my goodness, my brain's completely fried. Let's have a look. Where are we going next? So we've got, is it Expo booth, I think. Oh, we've got Steen Stone's Web3. Oh, let's head over.